Hello, everyone. Today we're going to visit about the move of the Tenino Depot 50 years ago. And today I have with me Dan Bockhorst, who was involved with the move back in those days. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement in the move.
Hello. Uh, in 1974, I graduated from St. Martin's College at Olympia, and shortly afterwards, I landed a job as an administrator with the city of Tenino. And the very first thing that I was involved with was uh, Ken Hedden and I met in Centralia with the Washington State Council for Historic Preservation in an attempt to get the depot on the National Register of Historic Places. And in the year prior to that, the Preservation Council had denied an effort to get it on the National Register, but the council didn't know Ken Hedden. And if Ken had anything, it was perseverance. And in that effort, he was successful in the 1974 attempt to get it on the National Register of Historic Places. And so personally, I was involved from the standpoint that I very much enjoy historic preservation and repurposing of historic buildings. Professionally, I was involved in terms of helping to get it on the National Register, obtaining grants, bidding for contracts, administering the grants, and just in a professional capacity with the city.
And Ken was the mayor at the time of
He
Tenino.
was. He was. I think Ken served a total of 10 years as mayor. And I grew up 7.5 miles south of Tenino. I went to Centralia High School and had an orientation towards Centralia, but was a neighbor of Tenino. Passed through Tenino as a young man many times and enjoyed the historic nature of the community. And Ken, he had a reputation at that point, and throughout his 10 years, he did a lot of good for the community, for sure.
He for sure got a lot of things done for Tenino.
Yeah.
What was the time period that you were involved the whole time from that beginning in 74 to before you left Tenino?
Um, so as soon as I went to work for the city of Tenino, got involved in the project and worked throughout. It was actually the move took place in August of the following year.
And then how did the community become possession of the depot? I thought that was going to be torn down at some point.
Yes, I think in early 1973, the Burlington Northern had put the building up for sale, and Ken Hedden actually talked the railroad out of selling the building, uh, and so he was the move behind keeping the building from being sold or demolished, and beyond that, it's just move forward.
And can you tell me a little bit more about the moving forward process and what that looked like? And then how did you guys raise money and anybody else who was involved besides Mayor Hedden?
Well, I'd say, first of all, in terms of people that were involved, if I were to give three names of the people that were most involved in it, it would be number one, Ken Hedden, number two, Ken Hedden, and number three, Ken Hedden. He certainly spearheaded the effort, and it was a dream of his from the beginning, uh, from the time that Burlington Northern had indicated that uh, they were going to sell the property. He had the idea from the very first time to uh, acquire the property on behalf of the city of Tenino and to move it to the park and to turn it into a museum for the history of the community.
Do you recall how much money had to be raised for the move and how they did that?
Um, I think there was almost $50,000 for the move. Uh, there were there were local efforts. The Tenino Lions Club was certainly involved. Tenino Chamber of Commerce, local citizens, but for the most part, there was two federal grants, I believe, totaling about almost $50,000. but there was a lot of interest locally in the project.
And I heard that there was a thermometer outside of City Hall that was showing the progress of raising the money.
There was indeed. My understanding was that the Tenino High School art class is the one that constructed the thermometer.
Fun. So what was the planning process of going from it's over there, which was how far away was it from the current location?
I think it was about 10 blocks.
10 blocks away to get
Yeah.
it to there and I heard stories about how many tires it took underneath it to get it because they moved it all in one piece, correct?
They did. It was an incredible effort. I never dreamed before that day that I saw it that you could move a building that size. If I recall, it was close to 325 tons,
Wow.
so about 650,000 pounds. So a lot. And in terms of the cost, to say, I think it was about $50,000, which I believe in today's dollars would be about 300,000. So a lot of money, a lot of determination. As I say, Ken Hedden is the one that got to give him credit for everything.
And do you have any fun memories of the part that you played in making it happen?
Well, in terms of what I may, I don't take any personal credit in getting the job done. I was involved. Lots of good memories on it. First of all, there was the groundbreaking for the move. Ken Hedden and I and a few others arrived at the groundbreaking site in a stagecoach. I don't recall who provided it, but
Hmm.
first time I ever rode in a stagecoach. Uh, in terms of groundbreaking, Ken took the first shovel full of dirt, and I had the idea that we could package the dirt in little bags and sell it as souvenirs. So the dirt was placed in a strong box that was guarded by the Tenino police chief, and I remember that part of it. I, however, don't remember how successful the sale of the dirt was. I probably didn't bring in a whole lot of money. Uh, Another good memory that I have is in terms of making the payment for the move. Of course, Tenino is famous for wooden money. My wife had drawn a oversized check. It was about 2 feet by 3 feet, maybe not quite that large, made out to Shaughnessy and Company, the firm that made the move, and for the cost of the move. And legally, there was no requirement that a check has to be made of a certain size or uh, certain quality or material. It was actually made out of on a piece of veneer wood, so it was legal money. Uh, and we took it to the bank with the representative from Shaughnessy and Company and tried to cash the check. Shaughnessy did, and again, legally, I know that it was it met the standards for cashing a check.
Uh-huh.
But the bank manager refused to do it. And we thought the better of, we didn't want to push it too hard, but that was a lot of fun.
I believe they still have that check on display at the museum.
Oh, really? I was
And
wondering what happened.
yeah, I think they have that check on display at the museum, and we're going to make a big deal out of that on this Saturday when we have the celebration.
Yeah, well, neat. My wife made it. She drew the check. Is it?
Great.
I don't know if it was endorsed on the back. You might look on the back to see if it was endorsed by Shaughnessy and Company.
Yeah,
But I
fun.
know we did try to cash it, but uh, didn't want to push the banker too hard.
What were some of the challenges that the city had to overcome to make all this happen?
The biggest one was certainly money, and there was a time pressure too that Burlington Northern didn't have endless patience. So uh, Burlington Northern wanted to be satisfied that we were making progress, and again, principally through Ken Hedden's determination. I remember that he and I went to many different agencies trying to find money, and again, he put in a lot of volunteer work to get that done. So I have to give him credit for everything.
I recently met with Janet and Shirley, and they provided some documents to me and some photos of a lot of the stuff that took place as well in that time period. And there was one document that listed all the different organizations signed on as being a sponsor of making the move happen. And that was really heartwarming to read that
Oh
document.
yeah, yeah.
It was amazing. So once the depot got moved, how did it become a museum? Do you remember that?
Well, I left the city of Tenino in 1976, and the depot had been moved, but development as a museum didn't occur until a few years later. So I was not involved in that process.
Yeah, where did you leave Tenino and go to?
After I left Tenino, I went to work in Alaska. My wife and I moved to Alaska, and I parlayed the municipal government experience I obtained in Tenino. I got a job for working as a city administrator for the city of Haines, which is in southeast Alaska. And that was the first year of a 40-year career in local government in Alaska. I still live in Alaska in Ketchikan, but uh, the door to that profession was opened when Ken Hedden selected me to work for the city of Tenino. So I'm still in Alaska. Uh, my wife and I do travel to Washington State uh, every so often, and we do pass through Tenino typically, and I enjoy the community still looking at it.
Well, I'll follow up with you after this Saturday and make sure your wife gets a picture of the check
Oh,
and make
that'd be
sure we
wonderful.
have
You know,
that.
they actually, if I'm not mistaken, they locally created small facsimiles of that check. So there's probably some of that around too.
Yeah, they have some. And I think it's going to be part of the ceremony on Saturday as well. And then they're also going to be issuing another print of money. They're going to print a $1 bill that will have the stone carver Keith Phillips on the back of it.
Oh,
They're
wow.
creating a $5 bill that has the printers Shelley and Lauren Ackerman, who have been printing the money for all these years on it. And then the $10 bill would be a replica of the museum celebrating it. And then this year they're going to make a $50 bill that's actually going to be, they're going to make 50 of them. So they're only going to sell 49 because one stays with the museum on it.
Oh,
And it's also a replica of the museum on the wheels of when it moved. So
what? So how do you acquire those? How are they going to be for sale through the chamber? Or?
they're going to be for sale at the museum starting on Friday. So if you want one of those, I'll make sure to get one set aside
Oh,
for
I have a pretty good collection of Tenino wooden money. So yeah, I would be very much interested in
well,
it.
I'll get you one of all four then. And there's a fifth one. There's a souvenir piece that for sale for $1, but it's just a souvenir of Oregon Trail Days. They
Well,
do that
I'd be
every year.
glad to contribute to the effort. I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to share about the experience or remember or um, I'd like to know more about Ken Hedden, and it sounds like a P.T. Barnum making things happen.
Well, Ken he's one of the most impressive people I ever met. Even though I worked for the city of Tenino for a couple of years, I became lifelong friends with both he and Barbara, two very impressive people. I was, it was incredible to me that he had a business that required a tremendous amount of his time. He was mayor for 10 years and he served so many other functions in terms of the Lions Club and was involved in other organizations in Tenino. Just really impressive individual, as was Barbara.
I think he was a firefighter as well at some point.
I didn't realize that, but that was
Yeah. Yeah.
before I got involved.
I did a wonderful interview with Barbara 2 years ago. I'll send you a link to that video of her
Great,
talking about the history that they had there in town. So
great, great.
sure appreciate you taking the time today to share with us information about how the Depot Museum move happened and wish you well.
Yeah, and I hope that your ceremony turns out very well.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.
Bye.